Little boy. Come on. Him? Yeah. Guys, got some technical difficulties. I want. Okay, I think we got it. No, why is it like that? Okay, maybe this will work this time. Good morning. Sorry for thinking. Still getting a couple of things. We're up and running. Okay. I'll do one last check real quick. Just do this. Alright, just wanted to make sure that the audio is also working because that was a lot. Cool. Good morning. Sorry, that was a rough start. Oh. Happy 1/11/2026 and the year of our Lord this number 1 year. Got art ready to go when I'm ready for it to go. I've got some notes going. I've got notes ready. I've got Miss May. Unfortunately, again on my account, I think, but we'll figure it out later. That's a problem for a different day. We already had enough technical difficulty. This feels like it might be a quieter week, power-wise. I'll just show you where we're at with girl. Oh. It'd be a lot. That looks like. I had all of this set up, but then it decided to die. That's where I'm at right now. Oh. So this is where Girly Key's at so far. Right. I need to finish this here. It needs some embellishment. And then I need to make it look like glass. And I know that glass is... Hi, good morning. Good afternoon. Afternoon, you're an afternoon. I know that I need to make the glass see-through, but not the see-through. Welcome in at username. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We've had so many technical difficulties this morning, we're not even gonna worry about it. How's your day been, son? How's the snow? Oh, apparently we're worrying about it. No. The snow is horrible. Oh, we're in the... How much was it? Our windstorm finished up, I guess, around midnight last night or so. There's a lot of leaves and stuff on the roads. Yeah, I lived in the northern part of the US for a few years, and that was more than enough snow for my lifetime. At least snow with the obligation of maintaining it and getting out and existing in it. I like snow as an aesthetic if I have nowhere else to be, but if you expect me to go outside and do literally anything, you can hang it up. I remember you also, this is a topic change, but I wrote myself a note up here so I didn't forget. You mentioned something about 1984, right? Adding it to your reading list? First note. For real? All the way over in Poland? Like, I know it's not Siberia, but that's surprising. Okay, so if you haven't read it before, I was hit by a truck recently, like metaphorically speaking, not literally, with remembering based on just current events. It Can't Happen Here is also a very good book in that same vein, and I will say that it scared me more than 1984. Hi, Mom. Nope. Deaf. Oh well. We're just kind of warming up a little bit. We had a bunch of technical difficulties. Poor Miss May is at the end of her rope, and it is only 10:14 in the morning here. We're doing our best. Why don't you go make yourself another coffee? Why don't you give it half calf at least? So yeah, Steph, I don't know how much of it you heard, but Sen mentioned 1984 on their reading list, and I don't know if you've read it. You were the one who gave me 1984, obviously, but It Can't Happen Here by the same guy who did the book that basically made Eugene's a thing. What is that called? The Jungle? With the meat industry, the meatpacking industry in Chicago. I think it's the same guy. I could be mistaken, but anyway, It Can't Happen Here was May and I read it a couple of years back, and a certain scene in the book has stuck in my mind that has been, like, it was like planted in the back, and like a sleeper agent got activated this week based on current events, so it's been on my mind very strongly all week. Okay, cool. As long as you've read it, because I hadn't heard of it until a few years back. But it seems much more like 1984 has weight, right? But like, I don't know, there was something about It Can't Happen Here that felt much more on the nose. A sleeper agent in the book. The bit with the civilian militia and the first time they, yeah. So, anyway. Here we are. I don't know if you saw stuff, but this is where we're at with the fairy lady. Abrupt topic change because that's a rough one. But here's where we're at with the fairy lady. I need to add more detail down here on the pedestal. But I'll get to that another day. That feels like pulling teeth. Today, when we get to it, I want to work on... I'm working on a loading screen like how Miss May has one for when she's about to go live. And it's for... if you get it too right. For when I'm about to go live. So we'll paint it, and she might animate it a little bit as a watercolor. And we're gonna work on that in a little bit. Thank you. We'll work on him in a little bit. But for now, we have the week and astrology. I guess we can get going on that a little bit. So I've got graphics today. Maybe the fairy thing. Who wrote "It Can't Happen Here"? I don't remember. Hang on, there's a computer right here. Let me... Sinclair Lewis, so it was the same guy who wrote The Jungle, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe the fairy turns blue or lavender only when she sleeps. I mean, maybe like a dormant state kind of thing, and she might turn like pink when she's awake and more active. We had some webcam troubles earlier today. I had it all nice and kind of set up to where there's a little bit more ambiance than this, but it is what it is. Let's see. Can I at least get my coffee in the frame? No, that's way too low. Oh well. Sorry to bang the mic. I will try my best to remember. There's a lot going on just with the rough start that we had this morning and with as fried as my brain is right now, but I can try. Because yeah, the greats being 1984 and Brave New World, they're great for a reason, and I can see elements of both things in our current situation, especially given that they were just, you know, like hypothesizing what would continue or what could happen if things as they were continued, and lo and behold, wouldn't you know it? But I don't know. It can't happen here, and Handmaid's Tale blent together is just kind of hitting the nail on the head for at least certain parts of the world at present. But it is how it is. I just wanted to remind folks that that one's there too in case they hadn't read it before. So, this week's astrology, I have some handy dandy notes. I printed them on different sizes. This is a work in progress. We will get there. Next to nobody's here right now, and y'all like me enough that you don't mind. So here we are. It's fine. But I tend to talk with my hands. I don't know if you do that too, then, as a fellow Gemini rising. You added it to the list. Very good. But last week when I was talking, I was waving my hands around and doing all of these kind of, you know, explaining myself, hand gestures and such, and it just wasn't really coming up on camera, and I just had the art underneath it, and it was just kind of sitting there, and Miss May was like, why don't we try to figure something out to help you talk with your hands? So this is what we came up with for now. We're gonna roll with it, see how it works. So again, 2 different sizes of paper because I was fighting with the printer to print it all because it's new and I didn't know how to load it yet correctly. But I figured it out, that they're 2 different sizes, and we're just gonna make do. So this is today's, this is the end of the week. Oh, I can leave a note on the general chat if you want, and we can ask Lady Lapine if she wants to make like a separate channel for a reading list and stuff. Currently I'm reading Interview with a Vampire in Spanish, but I'm about 6 pages in, and it takes me about 10 minutes to get through a page, which is a vast improvement from the 30 that it took me when I first started trying to read in Spanish at all, at the start of last year, but it's still very slow going. So, we have here these 2 charts. This is the start of the week, this is the end of the week, so we can look at see where things have moved. I've marked down the different... Focus? Maybe. When? I've marked down the different relationships here between everything. Read about vampires in May. Did I watch? Yes, I have been keeping up with the show. I know that the 3rd season is coming out sometime this year. But as long as we've had to wait, I'm pretty sure it's going to be fairly soon. I have this weird thing where if I'm really anticipating something, I will completely avoid it. Not like a spoilery thing, but I will just be like almost scared to look it up to find any details, and I like this one enough that it's hitting that button, so I'll need people to let me know when season 3's out. But yeah, I have watched the show. I like it a lot. I have one teeny tiny nitpick that is just a personal thing, but otherwise 10 out of 10, no notes. Love the modernization that they've done, love the revamp, love all of it, love how they've like tied in different details from the different novels already into all of this. It's been a lot of fun to watch this just as an adaptation. But I know that Chris Rice is responsible for it, and I know that he wants to do his mother, or do right by his mom, right? So yeah. The original movie from '94 with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise is like a family movie of mine. So I just grew up to be goth vampire trash. It's really good. It's really good. They did a lot of good stuff to it. Like I said, I have one critique, but it is just basically a chip on my shoulder. It's not even really a critique. It's just a chip on my shoulder. And yeah, they've really been handling it well. I like it a lot. And bear in mind, this is coming from me. I am Anne Rice is my Pulp Fiction. I inherited that from my aunt. So that's because he was thriving. Like, I've read things about, the only Tom Cruise movie I like. I read things about how Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise reacted to that movie, and Brad Pitt wanted to leave, and Tom Cruise was just like in his element. So the only reason that Brad Pitt didn't leave was because he would have to pay the movie production like $3 million, and he didn't have it to pay. And that's extremely on brand for Louis, I feel like. Just... he wants to leave. He just wants to be done. He wants to mope. He wants to leave. And that just translated so well, whereas Tom Cruise was just like having the time of his life as Lestat, and I feel like that just like, I'm waving my hands here again, I'm talking with my hands again, but like that just emphasizes their like just personality so well, and it translated so well. I would love to possibly set up some kind of watch party on the Discord, honestly. Like, I would like to rewatch it. But we went to, it did come through. We went to New Orleans a couple of years back before we left the US, and I made it a point to go to Anne Rice's mausoleum and stuff like that, and it was really good. So. The books, I say this with all the love in the world, Anne Rice is my hero. Don't misunderstand me. Not all of the books are my favorite, but I still love the world, and I still love her creation, so it's perfectly fine. Like, no complaints, it's just funny to me. Kind of how off the rails she goes for some of these books. I think I've read up to the 6th, and there are 13. So I need to keep going, but then we had to move, and I have had no time for reading. Or at least I had no time for reading in 2025, so I'm planning on picking it back up, but now I want to try to read it in Spanish, right? So that's 10 minutes a page is going to take me a long time. Did I pay homage to Madame Marie? I tipped my head. I nodded. I did not want to mark anything on her grave, but we did walk past it, and I did try to be as reverent as possible. It really, the thing about any book is that it's always weirder than the adaptations. It's true. It's true. If they keep going though, because we're done with the interview. So with the show, we're done with the interview portion of the book, and now it's time for the vampire Lestat and such, right? If they keep going past like the original trilogy though, I'm really interested to see how they handle the Tale of the Body Thief. Because that one was wild. That one was insane. But, like not even in a, I don't know. It's a fun romp, but I wonder why. What prompted this? But. Yeah, if you ever want to talk vampires to me, anytime, I'm always down. I'm so down to clown. Recently, I've also been really tuning into Frankenstein and stuff too. We read the book a couple of years ago together. Oh no, you're fine. We'll stop derailing you now. I'm always down to clown to talk about vampires. Like I said, anytime, any day, any place. You just message me, one word, vampires, and let's go. So, but yes, as far as stars go, happy 1/11 on, not 11/11, 2026, but 1/11, 2026. So, if you're into numbers and stuff, that could be fairly significant, the start of stuff. This week's stars, at least in what I've seen so far, have been a little bit more quiet. We can still see here in my handy dandy chart, we still have this we still have this, I have a comment about that, son, but hang on. We still have this little conjunction going. It's not as exact as it was right now. I don't know, you probably can't see all the details, but we have Venus, the Sun, and Mars all on top of each other right here. The Venus is at 22 degrees, the Sun is at 21, and Mars is at 20. Mercury here is bringing up the rear at 15. We still have this tidy little Capricorn stellium going on. So these are all still playing. They're not, the Sun isn't doing the Cazimi thing to Mars anymore because he has passed it, so Cazimi is one of the two planets on top of each other like that, but he's catching up to Venus quick. And like I said in my notes, on the Discord, you'll still feel like just the tightness of this conjunction. There's a lot of, you know what you want, you're willing to go do it. Be careful not to burn yourself out. It ties in with the Jupiter in Cancer over here in retrograde. These are opposites right now, to varying degrees. Right now it's tightest with Mars, but with those opposites, it's been a push-pull of like manic go energy and kind of moodiness. Why isn't my hard work paying off? Why why isn't it working, emotionality kind of stuff. So if you've been feeling a bit on a emotional roller coaster, as it were, like that, between I can do everything and I can't do anything, that's probably why. So these are still the big players for the earlier part of this week. We have, yeah, a lot of my notes are talking about a little bit further ahead into the future, but this week, besides this Capricorn stellium still kind of being the main player opposite Jupiter here, we have a few Chirons raising his. Nope, that's Lilith. Wow, I'm so tired. Good morning. Chiron, where did he go? Chiron's over here. Here he is. So they're both in red signs. My bad. So Lilith's just doing her thing. Lilith's got a stellium going on with, it looks like Pluto, and probably Venus is coming up and such. Not a stellium, sextile coming up with Pluto and Venus and such. And that's just when the two signs kind of play nicely together. They bring out good in each other. But Chiron here seems to be the main character this week, and he's got a bunch of really tight squares going on. We have T-square, actually, is what it looks like. So a T-square is one of the harder aspects to deal with if it is in your birth chart. That's where you've got two planets or major player asteroids kind of squaring off with each other, and then another is in opposition. So right now you can feel the tenseness between Jupiter and retrograde and Cancer, and Mars and Capricorn over here, and you have to lean on Chiron a bit to be a bit of a mediator, right? Now, the thing about T-squares is they would be a grand square, except we have, these are our cardinal signs, and there's nothing in Libra. So this, where you would have the balance here to help it out, there is nothing, right? So it's a little bit difficult to deal with. So Chiron here, squaring off on a lot of things, which might also kind of feed into this Jupiter retrograde roller coaster. I can do everything, I can't do anything, I can do everything, I can't do anything kind of vibe. Wherever Cancer, Capricorn, and Aries is in your chart. So Gemini risings, me, Sun, Cap is in your 8th house, right? Cancer is in your 2nd house, and Aries is 11th. So 8th house is like shared finances, shared resources, inheritance. Things, a few other things that, oh, not quite child appropriate. But anyway, so 8th house is like ruled by Scorpio originally, I believe. Yes. So it's like release, letting go of the mystic, the shared finances, the things of that nature. So it's in our 8th house, so all of this kind of thing, so all of these planets are playing out. That's where we're most maybe sensitive about, maybe most willing to go get them, right? So for example, you can kind of see it playing out right now with me trying to do what I can to help Miss May along, right? But there are times when I feel kind of vulnerable about it. I don't really like putting myself out there. This is a learning experience for me, but I can also do it. Now, Chiron might bring up some old traumas, I guess, since he's the wounded healer and all. But when you're feeling vulnerable about your Chiron, my favorite astrologers told me specifically, right? Like, and he's told other people too, but like, he told me specifically, remember that Chiron is the wounded healer, but he was also the master. So I'm reading this as, if you feel vulnerable about any of this, right? Like, lean on, find your strengths, and like, try to do what makes you uncomfortable, that you maybe you know you need to do. How did I word it? The vibe is, at least to me, taking like a step towards things in spite of maybe feeling vulnerable about them. Like if you know you need to do it, go do it, right? You might feel insecure about it, but it should be worth it. So that is at present. This is by the time we get to next week. This is a much bigger chart. Aha, very nice. We like the... Yeah, you probably like the bigger chart, don't we? It takes 2 pages though, I had to tape it back together. So we've got this going on, and then by Wednesday, so this is for Saturday or Sunday, but you can still see this opposition is still playing a little bit. Venus is still wrestling with Jupiter retrograde. So just remind Cancer, not really the wishy-washy emotional crybaby that everybody says that he is, but when a planet is in retrograde, it can be that way. So it could, you know, that cycle of I can do it, I can't do it, I can do it, I can't do it, can keep going. Nope, not Venus. Mercury. That's my buddy. This one right here. He's my favorite. So yeah, there's a lot of... This really fits the entire concept of it. Yeah, it does, right? Like January goals and stuff. And I mean, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and like honestly, it makes sense that it's the start of the not astrological year, but the Gregorian calendar, because like it's like, you know, you got this disciplined, I can do it kind of vibe, and that just really fits in with New Year's resolutions. But anyway, so we've had all of these oppositions. We're starting to get out of these oppositions, but they're still kind of loose over here. But Mercury and Jupiter Wednesday will be pretty tense. That was what I meant, not Venus. I misread the sign. So for that, I have Mercury retrograde. Oh, he's not going to get me again. You've got until the end of February for Mercury retrograde. And really, he's not... Mercury gets a bad rap. I'm really protective of my boy. But with the Jupiter retrograde and then Mercury opposite, Mercury is kind of, and this is something I wanted to talk about later, I kind of hit a gold mine on explaining how planets work together, so I wanted to talk about them all together if you wanted. But someone said that Mercury was basically the MSG of the astrological chart, in that he's the closest thing to a neutral planet. He goes so fast, he has to interact with everybody, right? And this makes sense for like Mercury Hermes. He's a psychopomp, but he's also like up dealing with the mortals and stuff. So like he's in both the land of the living and the dead. He's pretty flexible. So this plays out in astrology as him just kind of being a neutral planet. He's the planet of communication and conveyance and stuff like that. So he just kind of like ratchets up whatever that planet is possibly doing, right? So Jupiter retrograde, he's the MSG of the chart, right? So it could be great. It could also just be a lot. Over optimism. You could have these ideas that you might butt heads with people and be kind of like one-track minded about it and butt heads even harder. But it could also be like a mental expansion kind of thing too. Like you could have an epiphany, you could have, you know, just so watch your words. Think about what you want to say before you say it. That's general life advice anyway from me to you personally. And you should be fine. So, later this week too, we will have, here we go, here's Venus. What is she doing? She is making a nice little trine here with Uranus, and sextiling Saturn. All of these guys are, but Venus in particular right now. After all of the loftiness after all of the pie in the sky that we had with all of the stellium back in Sagittarius in like December, late November. This is bringing back some grounding, some reality, some logic to like love and finances. It can help you plan things out. It can give you a little bit more stability than maybe there has been recently. We have some longer term transits that we can talk about. So those are like the short term things. There's really not, I don't want to say there's not a lot going on given the state of the world. This is just me being my upper intermediate astrological self, basically. If I hear more, obviously I'll let you know. That's what I've got for this week in particular. And you can see down here in this little chart. I'm starting to be able to read it, but there are some longer term transits that are starting to like really creep up. Time, the clock's ticking, and we've got some big stuff coming up this year. So how in depth do we want to go? I can talk about my boy Mercury all day long instead. Whatever y'all are feeling. We can talk about these notes from this gold mine of a Reddit thread that I found explaining the different status of things. Miss May is typing under my account. I'm typing up a message now, so let's see. Slam that like button. I mean, I'm stumbling after the errors that we had. So maybe not today, but yes, also today. We're struggle bussing today. But we can talk about these notes. We can talk about some of the bigger astrology stuff that is looming on the horizon. I know next week, Sun, you will be extremely happy to know Neptune is almost done. Neptune here, he's almost done in your chart. And then come mid-February, Saturn will be too. So, where do we want to go from here, guys? We can talk about some of these longer term ones that I took note of, just given the current geopolitical situation, plural. Or we can talk about some of the little fun notes that I took about just general astrology kind of stuff, with things that were phrased that help me, that I think will help me remember a lot better than it had. If I can do it nice. That's the big thing, huh? Okay. So, let's do all the notes. Give me longer news, let's do all the notes. Okay. So I have just a couple of little longer things, so we can do both. I just kind of needed to know what order we wanted to go in. You can already... So, we have these two. We have Neptune and Saturn about to butt heads. Get it? Get it? Butt heads in Aries at 0 degrees. But you can already kind of feel it coming. They're too close, right? It's too close. You're starting to be able to feel it. Just with the way that things are going, right? We also have our boy Saturn here in a trine with Uranus down here. Not a trine, a sextile with Uranus down here. And that is, I feel like it's, do it nice. I feel like it's, a bit of what's going on too. Like everybody's already pointing the Aries daunting. Yeah, you got it. I know. I'm sorry, son. I feel like everybody's really scared of what's coming up with Aries, like late April, mid-May kind of time frame. But I feel like some of this could also be like at least the stuff that is more towards the positive, right? The Saturn and the Neptune sextile. nope, Uranus sextile. Kind of like a controlled breakthrough kind of vibe. I'm not sure quite how long this will last, but these are both slower moving planets, so it could be a week or two, probably. Controlled breakthrough. It could be Uranus tears things up to rebuild better. It's the higher octave of Mercury. Mercury is communication and forward thinking and such, and Uranus kind of does the same thing, but on the collective scale. Saturn is the disciplinarian, the stiff dad of the chart. I don't think he's personally that cruel. To me, he's more like a stern grandpa that you can't quite read, but if you're on his good side, you know you're on his good side. But people aren't laying down and taking it, right? You've got a lot of protests in a lot of places. People are starting to kind of wake up to things, and I think that could be part of this. Also, Neptune is at 29 degrees of Aries, so people are also starting to see past this illusion. You are starting to feel, because these are within 2 degrees of each other, this is a big one, this is what I was talking about. Next month we have Saturn and Neptune going conjunct. It's still forming right now, but when it forms it will be at 0 degrees Aries when it like fully goes conjunct. So that's going to be pretty big. Pretty big, I'm putting that lightly. Saturn and Neptune only go conjunct about every 35 years. The last time it happened, everybody's already talking about it, was the Berlin Wall. That was in Capricorn, I think. This time it will be at the very start of the zodiac. The last time it was in Aries was, I think, 200 years ago, but that wasn't, still wasn't at the very start of the zodiac chart. The last time it did something at 0 degrees Aries was when people were starting to go from hunter-gatherer to agrarian, gardening, patriarchy kind of things. So that was like at the start of what we consider civilization now, right? So big shift, buckle up, big shift. We can talk about that more when the time comes. But anyway, yeah, big collective shift. I did a whole class on it with that astrologer. It was pretty eye-opening. So with where this conjunction, because like it is a more collective thing, but also you will definitely feel it on a personal level. Where 0 Aries is at your chart will not be the same as your Aries house probably, unless you have a chart that is on the nose. Each house is divided perfectly. So find where 0 degrees Aries is in your chart. If that, it will probably be the house before your Aries house, and that was probably going to be where you're going to feel it. So for me, it's in my 10th house, even though Aries rules my 11th house. So I will feel it most in career and public image and such. So maybe the end of the patriarchy. I mean, it's gonna take a while to get there, but all signs are pointing go. The difference that's really happening right now, besides it starting at the 0 degrees of Aries mark, is that for the next 2 to 4 years, most of the outer planets are going to be playing pretty nicely together. So I feel like it's scary right now, and I don't know how long time is to a planet, right? But I feel like something's going to turn around soon. Again, soon to the universe may not be soon to us, right? But something's gotta give. Things are about to change. So I'll take the end of the oligarchy. I mean, the patriarchy would be nice too. So we have this to look forward to. I know once we get closer to time, I'll probably want to talk about it more. I can't say like everything he said because it was a class I paid for. I don't want to rip off his entire shtick, basically, right? But it was really insightful, and I'm excited to talk more about it. Like, at least on a personal level, basically, this is like a huge opportunity to level up wherever. Like, you will feel it across your whole chart, but wherever 0 degrees Aries is in your chart, you should feel it the most. Part of what has me cautiously optimistic, right, with everything happening with this conjunction, I wanted to make note, is that Neptune is sextiling Pluto. So Pluto is the transformer. He tears things down to the foundation to build it back up. Neptune is dreams, illusions, like pie in the sky kind of goals, imagination, you know, things like that. Dream state kind of thoughts, right? And with these two sextiling, right? So they are... Where's Pluto? Pluto will help me. If I know where Pluto is, then I can find... Yep, so once these two start sextiling a little bit more, once he hits Aries, that's going to help. Check where the Aries is. Sen, it's probably 0 degrees Aries is probably in your 10th house. Where these two start sextiling, him and Pluto, we are going to eliminate unrealistic ideas. We're going to tear down our illusions to the ground, potentially. Gonna pursue a new future. Obviously things aren't working, right? So it needs to change. But the reminder, right? The big reminder is, yes, these are collective planets, but they will affect us all still on a personal level. And the reminder is to control your environment and believe in yourself and do what's right. Theoretically, that should cause a cascading effect, right? And eventually the collective can work together with that same kind of pursuit. Now, that is implicit, the way that I phrased it, implicit of a hive mind. That's not what I meant. Right? But theoretically, like, that's part of why. Like, with all of the outer planets playing nicely together, I'm worried about the immediate future, but I am not worried about the long-term future, if that makes sense. So, that is where that is. If we have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but yes, a big yes to checking where 0 degrees Aries is in your chart. Like I said, if you're doing it on the your standard chart, it's Placidus, that's the word. It will have the houses, and your charts are not going to be one-to-one lined up. So 0 degrees Aries will probably be the house before your Aries house. Okay, so the fun things that I learned today. I was on... The long term will be fine, the immediate is going to be rough. Like I said, I think the effects will be felt soon, right? Like the resolution will be felt soon, but the problem is I don't know what soon means to the universe, right? Like, what is a day of mine to the universe's day, basically, right? Like, so it's different. Now, I guess we'll talk about, my little notes. So I was going down a rabbit hole. This is, again, me kind of being intermediate and stuff. And I know, by and large, what's good, what's bad, how things play together, things like that, right? But I always have to, like, re-look things up. So I hadn't quite figured out how I wanted to remember things, you know, what I needed to do to make things stick. And I found this little handy dandy thread on r/astrology, I think it was. Fun things, exactly. So I found this handy dandy little thread on r/astrology on Reddit when I was just kind of digging around, because I wanted to look at, like, the difference between trines and sextiles in particular. And, like, I knew by and large what it was. Like, a trine is everything works together, but a sextile is also complementary. You know, a square is things are tough, but you have to push you know, you have to work for it, but you can get it. There's the energy there. And then opposition is just a headbutting. You can get through it, but you're gonna have to really work for it, right? So in my research, and there's a book that I wrote down that I'm gonna have to look up. It is Ptolemy's Tetradiblios. But someone had posted it there. Let me... Something like that. I did not spell his name correctly. But anyway, somebody had posted basically what he said, and it was very handy. So, a handy little memo all the way from the 2nd century BC. Trines are the nature of Jupiter. Jupiter is the greater benefic planet, right? So where Jupiter touches, he expands. For better or for worse, it can be too much of a good thing, right? So trines are the nature of Jupiter. They are harmonious. They unite in the same element. They are not on top of each other, but they play well together. They flow. They play almost too well together. There is no off switch. They will always be on, and it can be too much. These are when signs are 120 degrees apart. So we can see here, we have the trine happening right now with, well, they're not quite in the same chart just yet, but you can still see it. We have the trine here with Lilith over here in Sag, and it will be trining Neptune in Aries pretty soon. Now this is a weak trine right now, so they're not quite exact. But when they're exact, they will both be in fire signs. Oh, down here. Yeah. Okay, so when they're exact, they will both be in fire signs. Lilith will be in Sag. Neptune will be in Aries. They will not have an off switch. Lilith is the rebel. Neptune is the dreamer. You will have a moment, or if someone is born under it, you will have a person who has their dreams and is quite strongly convicted with them, like to them, will fight for them, will, you know, do what they need to, right? We have some budding trines again. Nothing's quite, okay, yeah, these are both an earth sign. So you can see we have the sun, Mars, and Mercury trining Uranus. They are both in earth signs, doing Capricorn and Taurus. They do not have an off switch. They will keep going. Now, sextiles are the nature of Venus. She is known as the lesser benefic. So they are still positives, but they are harmonious and unite signs in compatible elements. They are only 60 degrees apart. So this is like water and earth and fire and air, right? These are your two, like these, they will always play nice, right? Water, earth, are on the same playing field, like they're both flat on the ground. Fire and air both go up, right? So they both play together, they all play together really nicely, but they take, it's not effortless like with the trine, right? So they take a little bit more intention to work on. Now, with sextiles, effort is usually rewarded fairly easily, but you have to be intentional about it. And instead of how trines are, can potentially just be too much, or if someone has a really trine heavy chart, they can be a little bit passive because things just kind of fall into their lap. So it can be just like, oh, well, it's gonna work out, so why would I bother? And that can make them, you know, like, it can be to their detriment, right? If they never have to work for anything, then obviously, like, that can make someone just kind of sit on their laurels, basically, right? With sextiles, you have to work for something, but you will be rewarded generally, right? So you can consider if trines don't have an off switch, sextiles you can kind of turn off and on, right? They are harmonious and compatible elements. We have right here, very obviously, let me put this down where you can see it, sextiles going on right now with earth signs and water signs, with all of these 3 personal planets, the Sun, Mars, and Mercury, sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So, water and earth play nicely, fire and air play nicely. Unsure about the compatibility of the mismatching signs, right? But fire and water obviously would clash. Air and earth would clash. And I guess the other 2 are neutral, but I can look more into it. Now, squares are in the nature of Mars, so it's tension and conflict and war, but it is also endurance and willing to fight for what you want and, you know, drive and motivation. So these are 90-degree separations. These signs tend to be in the same modality, so fixed, cardinal, or mutable, but they are in different elements. So these elements may not necessarily be complementary, right? So if we go back to our little notes, we have a square right now going on between Chiron with all of these in Capricorn, and we have a square going on between Chiron and Jupiter. So obviously fire and water aren't going to play super nicely together. You get smoke, you get a big pop, you get hissing, you get steam. And then fire and earth. If you pour earth onto a fire, it's going to snuff it, right? So you get a square. They don't play super well together. You can make them play, right? So if you look at it as like, you need water and fire to cook, right? But it takes training to learn how to use the fire to get the water to where you need it to be to cook, right? You need something to burn the fire on with earth, right? But if you cover the fire with the earth, then the fire gets put out, right? But the fire can also scorch the earth, so there's like a happy medium. You have to learn to control it. It is a learned skill, so kind of like a sextile. If you work for it, you can usually get it, but it does not usually come easily, right? So that is the square. Yeah, so use the same modality. So you've got your cardinals, your fixed, you've got your mutables. Leverage the modality, find the common ground, and it doesn't matter about the different elements so much. Now, oppositions are the nature of Saturn. These are separation and adversity. These are when planets are completely 180 degrees apart. This is your opposition, right? Now, they are, by and large, complementary elements, but they are complementary modalities, but they are opposite. They will butt heads. There will be a lot of struggling in which to leverage them, but I am still a firm believer of there is no bad card pull. Some things just make you work a little bit harder than others. Even with my freaking moon sign, there is something good to be taken out of it, right? With all of that mess that I have going on around my moon, I have learned to feel my feelings, but also control them, even though they are very deep. It's a very still waters run deep kind of situation, right? And if I leverage them correctly with the T-square that I have, I can put my feelings into words very easily. I can, well, not easily, right? It's a challenge, but with skill. I can develop a skill to put my feelings into words. I can what? What are you kidding about? Anyway, you can learn to use them. They are 180 degrees separate. A conjunction, if you learn there are big rewards. Oh yeah, it pays off. It's spinning the casino slot machine until you get 3 across, and It doesn't happen often, but boy howdy, when it does, you are golden. Conjunctions are when planets are on top of each other. Very easy to spot here in my little notes with all of this mess going on. We have all of these planets nicely on top of each other. They were even more on top of each other, but within a degree or two. I would still consider Mars and Mercury here conjunct by the end of the week. Conjunctions are a blending of the two planets. If it is too much of same, they can also still act as opposites. But more often than not, they will just kind of mix together. So. What were you kidding about, Steph? I didn't see it. I've got Ptolemy's Tetrabiblios, and then Sen is giving me a smiling, nervous emoji, and then Steph says I'm kidding. Am I missing something? Anyway, I'll keep an eye on the chat. So, yeah, we have trines are always on. They can be too much. They can make you passive. Sextiles off and on. They require initiation, but they pay off. Squares are stimulation and forced activity. It's laughing about your moon situation. Ah, yes. The squares are stimulation and forced activity. It can be difficult, but usually you tend to find a passion within it. And it is where you are willing to strong arm, I guess, even if things don't quite always work your way. It may not be letting me say it. Okay. It's where you may have to, but are willing to strong arm a situation. And then oppositions are just, it doesn't, they're too far apart. They're as far apart as they can be. It's water and oil. And if you can get them to go together, great. It will pay off, but it is difficult. So, lastly for my notes, we have just a reminder that Jupiter is the greater benefit, and I knew this already, but sometimes writing it down will help me like stick it in my brain. Venus is the lesser benefit, Saturn is the greater malefic, and Mercury is the good morning, hi, is the lesser malefic. We're going over some notes from some astrology stuff that I already knew, but I had it phrased correctly this time, so it might actually like stick without me having to continue to look it up. And then we're gonna start working on some art. Mars is the lesser malefic. And a quick side note is day versus night chart. These kind of skew a little bit more. I can have more information on that next time. I have read up on it, but I didn't have anything written down. So, those are my notes. Hopefully they help you. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer. Again, for this week, we still have the big conjunction happening, the stellium in Capricorn. Chiron is going to start squaring off. We have the stellium opposite Jupiter. Jupiter's in retrograde. He can be kind of messing with your emotions, but it also can give you some much needed confidence. Depends on how you play it, depends on the day. And then Saturn ruled Capricorn can give you the drive to go for goals. But Chiron is kind of stepping into the playing field today or this week and maybe saying like, oh, well, are you sure you can do it? Are you sure? You think you can? It might hurt your feelings, but if you can overcome that, you should be good. Again, if I hear anything else that I might not have noticed, I will let you know in the Discord chat. So, that is where we are at with everything. How does that feel? How are we doing? have my coffees brewing, loading screen, line art drafted up. And we will start doing some painting while I wait and see if anybody has any thoughts or inputs or other conversation. Whatever you guys see fit. I'm happy to keep talking stars. I'm happy to change topics. We can talk about vampires some more. And I did want to note, Sen, I had a big vampire phase as a teenager too, and then like early teenager, I guess. And then I tried to like distance myself from all of it. And I guess when I was about, I don't know, 23, 24, somewhere in that window, I started realizing cringe was dead, and I went full circle. I was a mall goth back in the day. I went full circle. I went back to the goth stuff. I went back to the horror. I went back to the vampires. I was just like, screw it. I'm gonna live my life, and I'm gonna have a great time. And it's been wonderful. I'll have to rewatch to get everything sorted in my head. Yeah, you can just message. I'm still not quite cohesive, I know that. But if you have any questions or anything, just message me on the side. That's fine. I know I'm still a little bit all over the place. I assume it will get smoothed out in time. What color do y'all think the little pajama top should be? Obviously, I feel like the hat needs to be like a blue. Probably, like a navy. I don't like navy. I mean, I can avoid using navy, but the color scheme is purple. Miss May has spoken. I guess I can have some purple on stars sounds right. Whoa, Toulouse. Buddy. You can sit in the chair and help me. 5 tickets, half match. Yep. That sounds about right. I'm grand. I want to be a pretty Victorian vampire full time. I would love to have lacy, ruffly things and look like a Castlevania villain at all hours of the day, but it is a big and expensive commitment. Right, no, that's fair. Yeah, Toulouse decided he wanted to come help. You do seem to be more of the night owl type, son. If I had my druthers, I would probably be more of a second shifter, but I have my pretty little corporate job that is the typical 8 to 5, and I simply refuse to give the business my best hours of the afternoon. So my hand has been forced and I have to get up in the morning. Is there a kitty? Yes, we do have a cat. I can send you a picture of him later. He does, in fact, have a whole Instagram that I always forget to update. Let me see if I have a good picture, though, that I can show you real quick. Because getting him under the camera and not having it mess up would be a Herculean task. There you go. Here he is in his, let me see if I get this right. In his, what? If you can see it, okay, maybe not. Yeah, he's a fuzzy little peach thing. Yours is fat and asleep. Perfect. Mine is in the background. If you hear things rolling around, it's him rolling his treat ball around. I say that like there's ever a bad picture of them. Ever. Not usually, but every now and again I'll get a gem and it's awful. He's so distinguished. Yes, he is a handsome little lad. They found him, or Miss May's co-worker's roommate found him on the street when he was way too young. I'm assuming he was homeless for about 5 seconds before he got picked up, but he was about 5 weeks old and they couldn't keep him, and my cat had passed away. My previous cat had passed away the last year. I wasn't quite ready to move on yet, but my rule always was if I could, or if a cat needed me, I had the stuff, I could take him in. So nobody at Miss May's office could take him, and they needed someone to watch him for at least 2 weeks, and he came in his carrier, and he immediately, there was no hiding, there was no crying, there was nothing. He just immediately sat down with us, came out of the carrier, and started playing until he fell asleep in Miss May's lap. And I went, well, I guess you're home now. Watch him telling everyone how he's loving. Right. Yeah, he had such a tough upbringing as a wee lad, a little tough guy. My last cat had also been a stray, but I think she had been a stray for much longer. I tried to train her to walk on a leash and go outside, and she did up to a point, but she never wanted to go anywhere. She was like, why would I ever leave? I have food, I have everything I need here. I don't want to wander anymore. So it's over a little bit better so you can see it. He'll be 2 in April. We got him at the end of May, so I backtracked, and he was born sometime around the second half of April, so I made his birthday 4/20 just because that's extremely easy for me to remember. Well, I mean, do you ever really own a cat, though? I guess that's the real question. When I was little, my grandpa used to feed all the stray cats in the neighborhood. We lived out in the middle of nowhere. And this was like really before the big push to like spay and neuter strays and stuff. So he'd feed all the strays, and at any given point we'd have somewhere between like 15 to 30 cats on our back porch. We had a big yard though, so it wasn't really the like biggest deal. But it certainly made me biased towards cats over dogs. April 22nd is not his birthday. April 20th is his birthday because 420 is hysterical to me. Hey, Doji. We just got done talking about the stars. The big conjunction is still playing out or the big stellium in Capricorn is still playing out, but Chiron is entering the chat and may make people feel a little bit vulnerable about it. just to kind of add to Jupiter retrograde's push and pull vibes, I suppose. And possum, yeah. I had a dream about that place recently. And I'll show Doji where I'm at with the fairy here in just a second. She's not done yet, but I have made a lot of progress. I had a dream about that property yesterday. I was having like work stress dreams because my day job is currently flipped upside down in Crazy Town right now because the higher up has decided that he wants to change the entire structure of everything because instead of fixing what's broken, he wants to fix what works because that's how that works, right? But I had a stress dream about that, and we had a really big backyard, and my grandfather had like this working shed with all of his like big power tools and stuff in there. And in the dream, we were having a meeting, like my team was having a meeting in that shed. And they cleared out all the power tools. I don't know where they put them. They cleared out all of those power tools. And it was my former manager like talking to me and telling all of us like what we needed to focus on once the new manager stepped in and all of that sort of stuff. And he called the meeting. We all walked out. In the very back of my yard, there was like they have these markets down here. They're like farmers markets and stuff. The farmers market is the best way to put it. But they had this big market going on, and I was stopped at a stall. I don't remember what I was looking at, but the lady goes, "Oh, you need to watch out for the bears." And I mean, there are bears in that area, but probably not in those little bushes that used to be. We had a couple of bobcats for a while, but we never had any bears. And so I leave the little market and I start going, I'm like going up the stairs to get to my back porch because the house was on a hill. I'm going up the stairs and I look back and I see my mom and one of my aunts walking around, and then suddenly they're being chased by like these two bears, but they're not bear size. They are black bears, but they're like micro bears. They're like, I don't know, basset hound sized. But they're still bears, and everybody still needs to be careful about them, and they're getting chased around by it. And so I go into the house, I grab Toulouse, and I go back to the backyard, and I'm like waving my cat around, yelling at these, like I'm waving around this cat. And I go, "Hey bears, pay attention to how this cat is, be more like him." And they listened. And so we just had tame bears living in the backyard. And they were acting like cats, and they realized, I guess, that if they behaved, they would get fed, so why would they keep chasing people around? I don't know, it was wild. But we had basically pet wild bears at the end of this dream. And it really stuck with me. Anyway, Doji, I have been working on the fairy on the side. And she's here now. I need to add some detail here at the bottom of the pedestal, and then I need to like color in the glass and then work on some background. And I'm kind of dreading it, so I'm putting it off. Being chased by micro bears feels humiliating. Yeah, it was a little bit comical, I must admit. Like, the reason it stuck with me, I don't usually remember my dreams, but the reason it stuck with me was because I did very nearly wake up laughing. And what we're working on now, Doji, is my loading screen for like when I'm about to go online instead of me having to continue to use Miss Maze. Yeah. Markets in the backyard, yeah. Markets in the backyard and big important meetings in Grandpa's shed. Just kind of like sit with that for a while. You like the multicolor? Yeah. Well, y'all are still... My mom and my aunt were like still up and moving, like they were fine. But it still had some yakety sax going on in the background. Even in the dream. Which I think is why I was like, hey bears, have you considered behaving? Good morning, Trampzilla. Hello. Doji, thank you. Yes, I was really debating on whether or not I wanted to go that hard on the cushion underneath her, but then I decided I needed to. And I've added like patchwork kind of details to it. I was pretty pleased with it. It was surprisingly easier than I thought it would be. Sleeping calm. I don't know. Nightcap? Hope the floor didn't fall through. The floor in the working shed in the back? Yeah, it was fine. Like I feel like it was yes, everything was the state that it is currently, but also like somehow simultaneously like back when it was all in good condition. Like that, the house and the shed itself were in good condition. And then my mom and my aunt were able to run away from these little micro bears. So it wasn't too shabby, but yeah, definitely, no, the floor didn't fall through. Nor did the back porch, which was a blessing. I did think about that in hindsight. I mean, I might, yeah. So yeah, I think this is a nightcap, but I might be calling it a sleeping cone for forever now. I'm gonna go over it in blue once it dries a little bit more to make it a richer actual purple. What did I... Anyway, so if any of the newcomers have any questions about the stars, I am happy to answer. I have already gone in depth on everything, but I can give high-level overviews, or if there's anything special that you'd like to ask or anything like that, fire away. I'm still intermediate enough that I'm willing to take like smaller personal chart questions and such if there's anything that's really bothering you. She's a fairy. She needs comfort, definitely. And like, I know it's for like a D&D campaign, so it's like probably your standard like, yes, she's small, but like your standard like Galadriel-esque kind of fairy elf kind of vibes, but I don't know, I spent too much time with my mother-in-law who does like the bohemian look a lot of the time, so I was just, it's like, let's give her a cute little patchwork thing. That feels mother-in-law approved. So speaking of the cat that jumped up on the table, and also I told the bears to act more like, we found out recently that he likes Fruit Loops. Weird dreams, just $10. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yeah, with Neptune being in the final degree of Pisces and Saturn creeping up on it, there's also a potential of like prophetic dreams, but that dream didn't really feel any kind of prophetic. It just seemed like Neptune and Pisces having a good time, if anything. Like, let's dream about work stress, but also, what if we made it fun? What if we got silly with the work stress? So I spent all of my Christmas break kind of worried about what was going on with work, and then I spent all of my first week back last week with zero idea of what was going on. That property is gone now. Yes, Fruit Loops. He likes Fruit Loops. I have to be very careful. Like, I know it's the sugar kind here, so like it's not as bad as high fructose corn syrup. But he very much enjoys Fruit Loops. I'm careful not to give him the grape flavored ones just in case, because the ones down here actually seem to have different flavors. And we had to look up, is it safe to give your cat Fruit Loops? And the answer was a resounding no, but the way that the article was worded, it sounded like it was warning you against feeding your cat entire meals of Fruit Loops instead of the odd Fruit Loop here and there. It was a very fun read. Miss May and I had a huge laugh. I definitely know now not to give Toulouse a full meal of Fruit Loops. I was not planning on it, but you know, just in case. And yeah. It makes sense enough though, my last cat liked Doritos. Well, see, the thing is, Steph, we don't usually have cereal in the house at all. We just had family over a couple of weeks ago, and my little brother likes Fruit Loops, so I got a box just in case. So these are the leftovers that we're working through, and they're good, and I don't mind, yeah, again, giving him the odd Fruit Loop here and there, but very fun Google search, can your cat have Fruit Loops? It reminded me there's this meme, and y'all can probably Google image search it. Honestly, it's brother, can I have the loops? And it's this really fat cat staring at a bowl of Fruit Loops very longingly. Speaking of work stress, I've been designated as in charge of the rest of the QA team at work without the pay raise, of course. Of course, of course. I'm so sorry. That sucks. I just passed the loops to the big brother. Yes. See, green beans are healthy though. Green beans, like, it's like the dogs that eat baby carrots and green beans. Like, I'm like excited to give them that, right? Like, heck yeah, you get your vitamins. But Fruit Loops? Doritos? Yeah, brother, can I have some loops? Yeah. And it's this really fat, long-haired cat, like, standing on his hind legs with a bowl, like, and the person is eating Fruit Loops. And the bowl is in frame. And he is staring very longingly at them. What are you going to do about the work shenanigans, Doji? Is there anything to be done? A cat that ate aloe. Animals are weird. I mean, I guess we do too, but like obligate carnivores just coming out of nowhere with their green beans and their Doritos and their Fruit Loops. And aloe, I guess. Did you find the meme, son? It's possibly one of my favorites. Big fan of the Mothman lamp, or the moth lamp trend too, back in a couple of years back. Does not care even harder for my response. Yeah. Yeah. For the work position, I will use it to not care about even harder. Yeah, that's where I'm at with the whole big upheaval of things. I honestly, like, I was talking to Miss May about this. I feel like my brain and the real world are like on two different pages right now, and the real world just has not quite caught up to where I am in my head yet. At least lately, right? It's been a big shift recently. Feels like I have one foot out the door of things as I do them, and it's just not quite time yet. It's really frustrating. But yeah, as far as work goes, I've been calling it like disengaging. I think other people that have been effective have been calling it like emotional disinvestment, I think is the term that I heard someone say. Like basically the big change that we had, no one is happy about, except like obviously the higher ups and stuff. But yeah, the people affected are just like, well, it's hard to find a job right now, so we'll stay, but it is what it is. We're not gonna sweat how things are going to go. And that's been big for me, honestly. Like I still worry about it, but like just the amount that I've been able to let go has been pretty earth-shattering for my neurotic self. Yeah, I'm really waiting on the world to catch up with where my brain is. I need to add like some purpley shadows in there since it's closed. Very hard to carry about. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. I don't make nearly enough money to report as high up as I did. Or do, and then all last week I technically reported even higher, and I'm like, you don't pay me enough for this, so I don't want to play this. Thank you. But big shifts are coming. Theoretically, at least. I'm hoping that my vibes are correct. I'm really scared that they're not. Greed is disgusting. Yeah. Again, I don't know how long soon is to the planets, but and I'm like, oh, all of the pop astrologers are like, all of these really good changes are coming and you can do it, and all of this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, but bad actors also get affected by these things too, and they're more willing to take the risks. So I feel like the collective good folks of this planet need to like take their cue and just go, right? Got a negative raise next my insurance premium. Yeah. What was that? January 1st, and a lot of people's insurance premium, like almost everybody's insurance premiums are sky high. I miss the proximity to Mexico, but there's a lot about living in the US that I don't miss. And I feel like getting out of the US is what has done a lot to like help me be less anxious about my job stuff. So for any lurkers here, you can... I don't do... Well, I mean, I do tarot, but I'm not nearly as trained in it as Miss May, so no tarot here, but we have our availability through the end of the month is 20% off for personal readings. We have single questions, or we can have a yearly outlook where it's one card a month. We're coming up towards the middle of January, so I'm not quite sure how that first month would go, but 20% off if you need a reading. There's a link in the pin chat to our Discord. If you have any star questions, you can find me there. It is a tiny, tiny community still, but day by day, every stream it seems to get just a little bit bigger. I cannot wait to not care about my... I mean, I still care, right? Like, I still keep up with US news. I still, you know, like, worry about friends and family and such. But as far as how it affects me, I don't have to quite doom scroll the way that I do, or the way that I did. I don't have to sit there and like always be, you know, just scared of how things are going to hit me. And that has been a certain degree of freeing. But again, I don't think it's permanent. I just don't know how long soon is. But that was part of why I was remembering it can't happen here, was just with everything going on right now in the US, up in Minneapolis and in Portland. Yeah, it does. It does suck how US matter. Yeah. Yeah. And I know I don't need to apologize about it, but sometimes I sure do feel like I ought to. I disliked it so much that I basically boycotted the whole country and left, though, so... Is there even a good place to go, though? Some places are better than others. I know you're in Poland right now, so you've got everything there breathing down your neck. I can't imagine. But some places are better than others. I will be honest though, even in the safe place that I am in, it still feels a little daunting. We're talking prophetic dreams. I've been having them. Yeah! Neptune in the final degree of Pisces and the final degree of the zodiac is there's a lot to be said about the potential for prophetic dreams and such that don't involve taming tiny bears. So, and I've heard a few of my more dream in-tuned people having them. I personally don't like dreaming so much that when I was on a medication that gave me dreams every single night, I had to stop taking the medication because I could not stand it. I would wake up so tired. So I do what I can to avoid dreaming. If I do dream, it's usually nonsensical like the bears or That's when someone's trying to talk to me. It's not about what will happen. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the case with prophecies usually, right? For me in Romania, the prices are higher than in Western Europe now, with way lower. Jesus. Yeah, Miss May was telling me about, like, your tax rate and such, and that things have, like, really gone up in inflation, but I didn't know they were quite that bad. What's, like, I know there's been a lot of, like, political upheaval. Is that what's causing it, or is there another root that maybe I don't know about? Take a break and watch this. You're too sweet. You're too sweet. I was wondering if maybe, well, so you sent us that game that's for, especially for streaming, and people haven't played, like, people seek out people who haven't played it yet. So I was wondering if when Miss May was streaming it, if I should just not watch and then do my own run of it. So you get double, the unknown reactions. Pack a double punch. Politician. Oh, who gets that? It doesn't do any work. Okay. Political got to go. Yeah. Well, if we defer to our handy dandy map, theoretically, that's what Mr. Pluto up here should be starting to work on, being in 3 degrees of Aquarius right now, all the way up here. So, here's hoping. And people seem to be waking up to it. It's just, I don't know. I felt it going awry for a very long time. So it's been a very, very frustrating thing for me to watch. But some people don't. Yeah. Yeah. And that's part of what my guy was talking about, with everything going to 0 degrees Aries. Saturn and Neptune right there. What's up? You feeling better? If Miss May chimes in with anything, it will be from my account. We still haven't figured out how to get that working correctly quite yet, but one thing at a time. I also need to find my own background music. No, you wanted me to find some background music that was mine, and I know that you were absolutely sick of your Halloween mix, so there's no point in inflicting it for 2 more hours upon people a week than what it already is. Time for the elderly love rat to find coffee. Alright, go get your coffee. I already had mine. It's all gone. No. It tastes good, but it does dry my mouth up a bit. Hard maybe. Honestly? Water sounds like it could go hard right now. I guess good-ish, question mark, news politically is that Mercosur down here, decent, maybe, question mark, I don't know. Coffee number 10, heck yeah. News is that there's a free trade agreement that got finalized Friday, between the EU and Mercosur, so Mercosur is down here, it's Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. And I'm just kind of like hoping that this kind of improves relationships across the board between the two conglomerates. But I don't know. I do worry about like economic impact, obviously, but just thinking about political ties. And that's kind of part of everything that I read about with the 0 degrees Aries is there's going to be some kind of like a split, right? And some people are going to, or some groups might be in one state and might be in others. Moving to a better, funnier topic, that game is really good when you try to figure out everything yourself. Of course, you might get stuck. Sort of experience where you can just be. Yeah, I thought it might be fun to like have a double feature basically of Miss May getting to explore it and then me getting to explore it, both kind of blind. Only imagine coffee since I banned myself from it. Uh-oh, do we have bad caffeine reactions? Swap out the coffee cup, water cup, it'll fit. Aha! Miss May is now alert and present. We had that rough start to our morning, and also she was just pretty groggy today, but she seems to be here. And hello? Oh, yep.
No, why is it not focusing?
Why is it not focusing? Oh. Man, asking the real question. It looks good on here.
Okay. It just looks kind of blurry.
Well,
Seizure warning, sorry.
seizure warning, it's already too late. I just have no self-control, yeah. At some point I do want to take a peek at your chart, Sen, to see how loud Mercury is in it, as far as self-control and stuff goes. Because, oh boy, he's loud in mine.
Purple.
Purple?
Purple.
Herbal tea, yes. Herbal one every morning. Todos los días. First time I like really got into my chart. It was very funny when I realized how loud it was. My chart is a snooze fest if I'm on it. Well, blessing or a curse? And I know that the first time I was like really starting to get into like the nitty gritty of my chart when I realized it was more than just your moon and your sun and your rising. Once I started really getting into like the nitty gritty of it all, I was like, oh boy. Oh boy. This fellow Mercury, he might like me a little bit. And it was also just like, ah, yes, this conjunction here means that you have ADHD, and this opposition here means that you have ADHD, and this existing means that you have ADHD. And I'm like, yeah, you don't say, you don't say. It's very, I can't get anything done. Yeah, that's fair. Mine is, you got a lot of words in you and you're very self-conscious about all of them. So it's like, I want to be a writer. I am so self-conscious about anybody reading my work. Do you guys have some favorites when it comes to zodiac signs? Like signs in particular? Or like planets? Or like what are we talking about? Just in general? It do be funny how a chart could just say I diagnosed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was like highlighting the different things that seemed to be like indicative of ADHD and or some other kind of neurodivergency. And I think by the time I was done with the whole chart, I like noted like 11 different aspects or where planets were or things like that. Like Neptune and Uranus, but you're a Sailor Moon girly lady. Yeah. And Neptune feels very aligned with Miss May and Lady Lapine, like dreamy and lofty and imaginative and, you know, creative and such. Uranus feels a little more out of sync just because they like to uproot and cause shenanigans, but yes, I know it's me. So Lady Lapine likes to joke that she's more like Neptune and I'm more like Uranus. Which, with Uranus being the higher octave of Mercury, makes sense. As far as planets that I like I said, I'm a big advocate for Mercury, and I think personally that Saturn gets a bad rap, right? They're like, oh, big scary Saturn. I'm like, oh no, it just feels like a very. My grandfather was a. Oof. We're okay. My grandfather was a very stoic man, but once you learn to read him, you could read him like a book, basically. And that is how Saturn feels to me. Like, at the end of the day, he cares about you and he wants what's best. And if you stray, it's more of like a, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed kind of vibe. So, I feel like Saturn gets a bad rap. Pluto's... Oh, the little lid on the piano thing fell down. It's okay. You like Pluto just because. Pluto's a hard one. Like, he's good, but if Saturn is your disappointed grandfather or your disappointed father, depending on how it goes, Pluto's like the stick of dynamite or the treasure chest, I feel like. Because Pluto is, you know, the transformer, right? Sounding a lot tsundere vibes. Yeah, that's a good way to put it too. Tsundere. I know that as far as signs go, it's really funny. I read this text post that was like making fun of stuff, and it was like, did it hurt when the sign that you hated most turned out to be in your big three?
Yes, it did.
And it was really funny because Miss May's rising is Scorpio, and she's always going on and on about how she doesn't like Scorpio. And then my rising is Gemini, and my ex was actually a Gemini sun, and so I was just, you know, like on this personal vendetta of like, oh, the hot and the cold, like I either love or hate a Gemini. And then we both found out when I started getting really deep into things that, oh, they're in both of our big threes. I've always liked Scorpios though. Like, I know that moon of mine makes it hard, but there's something about the signs that you can like, when you can have like the level 12 conversations with them from the get-go. I really appreciate that. So I've always liked Scorpios. Just for the intensity. I feel like it gives things flavor, right? And helps me like, because if I'm so Mercury dominant, right? Like I do have that very loud Scorpio moon, but I'm so Mercury dominant. And Mercury is so logical all of the time, and I chronically overthink things, and I chronically like compartmentalize my feelings, and I chronically play them down. And so it's always a blessing and a curse when a like water sign steps in and is like, hey, remember you can feel your feelings.
You feel it?
Instead of just, you know, logicking them away or logicking them to the point of irrelevance, or, you know, like, you don't have to have a reason to feel bad. I'm like, yes, I do. And I can't just sit here and feel bad. I have to do something about it. No, you need to take a break and just feel bad about it. Never liked Scorpio. My father was a Scorpio sign. Yeah, and Scorpio's in your big three, isn't it? One of my best friends is a Scorpio. But I'd be curious to see the rest of her chart too, because like she does have that kind of intensity, but it's a very lofty intensity instead of a very moody intensity. Like they're so stereotyped as having. I haven't gotten to asking her just yet. Yeah. And like, once I started learning more about Geminis, just kind of across the board, and once I like realized the birthdays of my friends and family, once I saw the birth dates of my friends and my family and stuff, it's like, and the ones that I vibe with the best and stuff, it was like, ah yes, the dual nature of the Gemini, I either love them or I hate them. And I've realized that I err way more towards loving them. And I know that like Scorpios and Geminis and Aquariuses are like the villains of the astrology chart, so I just kind of think it's funny how it all kind of plays out. I don't like Cancers much, and what do I see in my big exactly. Yeah, so the text post of, did it hurt? Did it hurt when the sign that you hated most is in your big, you found out that it's in your big three? I was like, oh man, yeah, it does actually. Depending on who does the chart, it's either Scorpio rising or Libra rising. I've seen. Okay. But the way. Oh no, this is Steph. I think part of that too, Steph, is that your birthday is a little more nebulous, just from what we've talked about. Not an exact time, and a lot of your degrees in the chart are so early that it can be really easily affected. It's like you were born at a time that is not solidly one thing or another. There's a lot of transition happening in your chart. So depending on how you time things, it could really leave a huge impact. Another fun thing I learned too is if you look at your chart, the more planets on the bottom half you have, the more of a private type that you are. And that rang really true for me. I'm neither or, I was told around supper time. Right, so like that's a fairly dubious time. Not dubious, that's the wrong word, but like a fairly nebulous, that's the word that I'm looking for. It's a fairly nebulous time. The state didn't put a time on my wrist. Exactly. So your chart is like either in the very early degrees of things or in the very late degrees of things, depending on when you time it. The way that I have yours saved is in the very early degrees of things. So it was like early degrees of Scorpio rising, early degrees of, I don't remember, Taurus, because I know that you were born right there, and there's no such thing quite as a cusp, but you were right there on the edge, right? So yeah, I could see depending on what hour you chose, that would leave a huge impact, especially given like the day of your birth, too. A lot of moving parts, and it would be very helpful if the state had in fact put a time on your birth certificate. Most of the time I find that it wouldn't leave too big of an impact, because things are usually in late enough stages, but for yours it's extremely huge shrug. And I could see, honestly, Cancer moon. I mean, at least a Cancer moon, she's at home, so that's cool. But I could see there being some room for some internalized stuff that you need to work on with Cancers in general. You're a goddess, do not forget. No, I know. And like Persephone, right? Like, she toes the line between being on Earth and being in the underworld. So like, it's really funny how like your namesake and your birth chart kind of correlate with that meaning a bit. Like, you kind of toe the line between a lot of different signs. But mine is way more clear cut. I wonder how a person has. I worry that it might kind of have like a too much trine effect when you have too many signs at home. Like, there could be a sense of complacency just for the sake of the way that things flow with ease. Right? Like, maybe not, but if a planet is at home, then they're at home and they don't have anywhere to go. If a planet is exalted, it means that they're, you know, in a sign where they're having a good time. If they're in fall, I read that it's like being stuck in a traffic jam where you can get to where you need to go, but it's a little bit harder. And then if they're in detriment, they're in jail. No, I was just taking it as your name stuff since it's Persephone, right? Like I was just playing along with the bit. So with the planets that are in detriment in jail, you kind of have to like jailbreak them out basically to get them to do what they need to do. But yeah, I would imagine if too many things are at home or if too many things are exalted, it might be a bit of a, you can do a lot of good, but you have to realize, or you can do a lot, but you have to realize that you need to work for it, or there can be a certain amount of like complacency and expecting things to fall in your lap. Yeah, I know. But it all kind of tied in together, like, symbolically to me of, like, your namesake and your birth date being so transitional, I guess. And her being the transition between winter and spring. And, you know, spending half of her time in the underworld and half of her time on Earth. And with your chart being laid out the way that it is, it's kind of hit home a little bit. Wish we could get this camera set up better. Yeah, but this is only my second stream, so I'm not too worried about it not being super crisp. I know we needed to do that for yours. Up and down. Ah, yeah.
You're looking a little bit funky in the camera.
Looking a little bit wonky.
It looks really, really good in quiet.
This is what it looks like straight on. I'm having a lot of fun with my what do we call this? I'm having a lot of fun with the cat's legs. I don't know if you've noticed in all of the Instagram pictures, like this stuffed animal has extremely long legs, and I'm just kind of having it a blast, just like over exaggerating how long those legs are. You'll have to look at it together one day if you don't mind. What am I looking at together? Just your whole chart? Like I said, I have it saved. It's just, yeah, you're in a lot of transitory things. I can look at it closer later. I don't know. I would like to be in the presence of a goddess. I mean, well, you invoke one? Just go for it. I don't know. I am benevolent, yeah. And I was gonna say, you're in a chat right now with two people who are very clearly named after them. So I guess that might count for something. But you can also just go try chatting to one. You got the Cancer moon. Look up some moon goddesses, or if it was a plushie, it would be great to put on a shelf. Yeah, he's real. He's real. Hang on.
Y'all haven't been watching my short.
Have you been watching the shorts? Because this guy is this guy. Oh, here he is. He needs some patchwork done because we found him a while ago. He's a little bit worse for wear. But there's this. Got his little body. You know what the body looks like. But these are his legs, and they just go on for like, I don't know, a foot and some change. Hang on, here we go. These are just his legs, and then he's got little boots. It just goes on and on and on, and then you get to him. And then I just want to like draw him with like noodle legs that take up the whole page. Extremely powerful chat room right now. Thanks, Sen. Yeah, he's got little curly boots. And in this thing, I've got him in little moccasins though, because it's his pajamas, right? We'll work on the picture quality later. Apparently it's a little bit janky. It looks nice and crisp in OBS though. Long legs. It's like, maybe they are. Yeah, his legs are incredible. Maybe then when we add him, when we do more shorts with him, we'll just like overemphasize those legs too. Just really drive the point home. So, we know that Doji also likes Saturn. How do other people feel? How does other people feel? Wow, how do other people feel about other planets? What's the vibe? What's the general consensus on Saturn? Are me and Doji the outliers? Saturn's cool. I like Neptune. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Saturn is fine as long as you respect it. It gets such a bad rap. But I don't know, the Capricorns and the Aquariuses I see, where Saturn rules them, as they seem to be doing just fine. If he was that big, like, a detriment, they would not be doing fine, right? I like those stern but cool characters. Yeah. Lord knows I appreciate a secretly soft grandpa type. Saturn is fine, but you have to be realistic. I mean, yes. But I also look at Saturn less, I mean, like, yes, realism, right? But it's not in a you can't have it kind of way. I look at it as like a you can have it, but what are you going to do for it? Right? So, like, we were talking in that class I was taking, and it was like, with Jupiter, you know, the benefic planet, it's like, you get what you want right away, but, so like, you win, you get what you want, you manifest, I don't know, a windfall or something to that effect, you win, you get it, but what are you going to do to keep it? Whereas with Saturn, it's more like, cool, you want this? You have to earn it. But then you win. He was described as a time of awakening or a rude awakening for those who had surgery. Yeah. No, that's true. Like, he'll he'll pop you if you're too pie in the sky, but I feel like he tends to go a little bit easier on you if you have like a tangible, like realistic plan for what you want. And as someone who is all about planning, I find that not to be too terrible. What color do we want the countertops to be? My countertops here are like some kind of stony thing, but I don't want to paint all of that. Like, but yeah, Saturn can be a rude awakening if you need a rude awakening. But with Neptune, I feel like if you're not careful, if you don't balance it out, you're just kind of setting yourself up for failure, right? Like, it's good to dream, but the purple is coming out really well. Yeah, thank you. It's good to dream, but what are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do after you wake up from the dream? Are you just going to let it stay a dream? Or are you going to actually go after it? And if you do go after it, how thought out is your plan? Are you really ready? It's a lot bluer on the screen than it is in mine, but you can kind of see how it's a little more aubergine. I'll take a picture of where I'm at when we call it. I'll put it in the Discord so y'all can see. Like on a personal level, Saturn in Aries is supposedly going to be much, much easier than Saturn and Pisces. Like, he's not at home, he's not in the best position, but at least the realist isn't in dreamland. Espresso pot is black, the cat is black, I'm thinking. Yeah, that's where I'm, like, worried, right? I don't want it to be, like, too much black or anything like that, which... In your clothes, no such thing, but in a painting, I feel like it could be a bit much. When I wanted something. It's early morning, how bright do you want the kitchen to be? Well, mine is, like, that stone slab, and then there's a lot of yellow. Like, I don't have much of a choice in my kitchen. Like, my actual kitchen. But here, I don't know. Blue? We got one vote for blue. What would my dream kitchen look like? Well, blue's a bad call for a dream kitchen since blue makes food look unappetizing. Red. Yeah. That's an option. Well, my pajamas are already purple. That's quite the dilemma. Yellow is such a kitchen color. It really is. Let's say I was about to say blue. Yeah, and I mean, like, in a painting that is going to be still and just making a cup of coffee, I don't think color theory about making food look appetizing really is necessary. But I'm such a foodie that of course I thought of it. I do have blue knobs. I have blue accents in the kitchen too, but it's like yellow with blue highlights, and even those blue highlights are sometimes enough to make me look at food and go, I don't know. You're thinking just countertop. what I really want, like in my dream kitchen, since Miss May asked what I really want my, yeah, blue's fine, whatever, let's do it. I want like the Mediterranean / Latin American tiles, like the really colorful tiles all over the place. I want that kind of kitchen. They are gorgeous. Mine is green, good color too. Yeah, didn't even think about green. Such a viable option. But yeah, I really like those really colorful tiled Mexican, like the open kitchens that you see the pictures of. I really like those. Marble it. I could. Yep, I sure could. That is an option. Because that sure is what my kitchen countertop, like, not marble, I think it's granite, but no. Yes to what? Are you yelling at me to marble it? Or are you, like, agreeing with me on the sick-ass Mexican kitchens? So I love those things. But, I mean, it'd be really funny, right? Because, like, my day-to-day life, we tend to, what is it called? Miss May and I describe our house as, like, pale blue is... Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say mine and Miss May's, Lady Lapine's dream house / aesthetic tends to be, we call it maximalist vampire. So it's, you know, just antiques and pictures all over the wall. We don't like blank walls, and, you know, we've got lots of stuff hanging up, and we like antique furniture and such. So it'd be really funny to have like this maximalist, vampiric, Gothic revival, like Rococo, whatever era we opted for, right? That, all of that kind of thing, and then you walk in and it's just this bright, colorful terracotta tile, Mexican, Latin American, beautiful kitchen, but it's one of these things is not like the other, right? But God, they're pretty. They're so pretty. Mm-hmm. But like, hang on, you know what? I'm just gonna look at these kitchens together for a minute. Where's Pinterest? Like, look at this. Like, if I could have my kitchen look like this in a minute, please. I guess if we went the the vampiric maximalist and kind of hybridized it, maybe this one? Let's see if I can get there. That looks a little better. Like, you can't really see it for the focus, right? But you get the gist. It's more muted, but... Yeah, the kitchen and the bathroom doesn't have to match the vibe fully. That's true. That's true. Well, Well, okay, Sin, you might be winning. This one's blue and I like it a lot. I wish you could see it better. But golly, I'm a sucker for those tiles. Even down here where it's a little more European, they've got those tiles. Like, we went to a big Christmas market and they had them for sale, and ooh, a kid could go bankrupt. And the only thing that was stopping me from it was that they were, like, printed, they weren't hand painted. I was like, this one was printed, but I got it for Miss May for Christmas. Like, this is a tile. This is a tile. Ah. Love it. I'm more colorful on myself and go for everything else dark and dank. Well, I mean, like, dank is the wrong word. I do not want my house to be implicit that there's... Those kitchens look like the food will... Doesn't it? Doesn't the kitchen look like the food will be good? Dank, I don't want to describe my house as dank because there's a certain implicit amount of mold that comes with dank, and I'm good. But I would like it to look regal, right? I would like it to look vintage and well kept. When Miss May and I go on our beach walks, sometimes pretty pieces of like sand ground tile will pop up, or ceramic or something. I found a piece of chinaware the last time we went. With the pretty blue painting on it, like the porcelain. I don't know if it was actually ancient or not, or if it was just a printed copy, but it was very nice. I was talking my house. Yeah, I know. But yeah, I just... Dank as a descriptor for a house is not something that sounds particularly appealing to me. I've already had houses with mold. I don't want to do that again. Beautiful kitchen, beautiful bath, the rest of my house, crazy cat lady aesthetics. Yeah, that's fine. The way that I describe how I want my house to be is I want people who visit leaving wondering if they... Like, knowing that they have a new friend, but also wondering if that friend might possibly be a vampire. That's kind of like my dream aesthetic. Except for those Mexican kitchens. Beautiful. Tiles everywhere. And like, a few months ago I got on this like ancient Rome kit too. And just like, I was doing a bunch of, I want a castle vibe, yes. I was doing a bunch of, like, on YouTube there's a bunch of accounts that do like walking tours with GoPros and stuff of different places. So I found one of a guy that went to Pompeii and Herculaneum and stuff while they were still kind of semi-closed for the pandemic. so they were empty, and you got like all of these really pretty up close shots, and just the tile work. Oh my god, the mosaics. An ancient Spanish vampire. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, something. Just, ooh, a mosaic makes me feel things when they're well done. Tiles. Ancient civilization really went off when they discovered tiles, or discovered tile making and mosaics, I tell you what. Velvet tapestries and stained glass. Also,
Yes.
like, yes, that too. Yes, huge yes. But again, my bathroom and my kitchen just will not match quite that aesthetic, right? Like, yes, the rest of my house, absolutely. Velvet tapestries, stained glass, all of it. The whole 9 yards. I want like the pretty like gold and bronze accents, and like one of my rooms would be like a nice deep crimson, and the other like with like you know, like bronzy kind of metallic-y kind of crown molding and stuff, and gorgeous. Castlevania. I want my house to look like Castlevania. Dojis and Romania stuff. But then you just get to the kitchen and the bathroom, and it's, you know, ancient Roman and or Latin American current tile gorgeousness. Yes, Romania, where's Doji Dracula? Yes. I watched a documentary on ancient Egyptian tile making that's still in practice. Yeah, I haven't seen that documentary, but I think I've heard about it. Or at least that tile making practice, right? Like the Moroccan tiles and the Spanish tiles and the Portuguese tiles, and God, it makes me feel things. And then in those GoPro walking tours of all of the places and old Italy, ancient Italy and stuff, tiles are so expensive that, yeah, but if I'm like just planning a world with zero budget, right? Like, what was it that I told you when we were first starting to talk, like the universe doesn't have a budget, ask for more, was what I was trying to learn. I feel like this is just kind of like my perfect world dream home, right? Well, I mean, Doji's trying to leave, so don't hold your breath, but I imagine she'd be able to, like, tell you where to go. Kind of like how I got out of the US South, but I'd tell you where to go. If you went to visit. So we need to hurry, yes, get to Romania pronto. Get your tours while you can. You've been told where to go. Well, you gotta tell Romania to get on with it about fixing all of their, like, inflation issues and stuff then. Sen is in Poland. Well, apparently is a night owl. Which would make sense considering they make so many of our streams and it's very late where they are. I just kind of want to go scour the EU. But I joke and I say I've never gotten to go to Europe because I'd never leave. The powers that be are like, no, you got stuff to do here. Or you want to go to Japan instead? Well, I mean, like, Japan is fun. Yeah, I don't regret going, but like, what about all of my special interest histories? So bad. Yeah, taxes always rise, so bad place to be. There's over the other side, yeah. Yeah, as far as like that kind of stuff goes, I tend to phrase it as like probably a decent place to visit if you're interested in, you know, that kind of stuff, but not a great place to live. Anyway, that's at least how I describe the South and the US, right? If in need of a guide, I can show you around. I mean, yeah, but they were like, oh yeah, when we go, I'll show you, get Doji to show you around. I'm like, they're trying to leave. She's trying to leave. You better get her while she's there, because she's trying to leave. Your doorstep, Doji. Hello, tour guides, please. Okay. Yeah, so y'all have like 2 to 3 months. I feel like that's actually kind of attainable for Sin, but I don't know about you stuff. Probably gonna go until about the hour. What's that, 15 more minutes? Feels like a decent amount of time working on this. And I can upload a picture and the art. Internet culture has never run. Maybe. Maybe. But it hasn't collapsed yet, so. Yes, the stars are for personal empowerment. The collective too, and I feel like the good ones that second guess themselves have to remember that the bad ones are also being influenced and they are much quicker to take advantage, so that is your cue too. If they can do it, so can you.
Do we consider XD outdated? I feel like yes, but we still use it anyway. That's my opinion. Yes, it looks outdated, it feels outdated, but I don't care, I use it anyway.
Something oldie but a goodie, maybe?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't use it too often anymore, but it makes me feel very happy when I see it. A nostalgia kind of thing. Admittedly, I did get on the emoji bandwagon finally. Ugh. Not proud of it, but...
It's not great, but you can't really add emoticon reactions to things.
What's XD? It's the
smiley face.
It's the smiley face. I know we have a friend from Chile who still uses :3, like the little kitty smile, so I've been trying to like let myself have that one again.
It's outdated, but it's ingrained in me, so I don't care. That's the mood.
Yep. That's living your truth, and I'm here for it. Yeah, I feel like at least with like millennial Americans, we still do LOL or LMAO or haha after every sentence as like a way to deflect or say like I'm not being serious or I'm not being mean.
Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me. I'm being, yeah, but XD I don't see too terribly often anymore. I'm very, very guilty of the LOL after every statement though. I was thinking of programming. Yeah. No, you remember when I was younger how I'd do that? It's just a little smiley face. The cow emoji. The little symbols that make the faces. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. And once we get to being done for today, I need to... I'll put pictures up of both the fairy and the, this guy. It's kind of in progress kind of thing. And then also have that art Instagram. I've been really trying to, I wanted to post daily, but that kind of fell through just because I ran out of old things to post. And everything else that I'm working on is so in progress that I don't want to just like post the same picture over and over again, even if it is a update. Oh, that's cute. You can see me stretching my neck and the little kitty cat. The counter's look good. Thank you. We did opt for blue after all. It's been fun trying to get back into color. I just stuck with pencil and paper for so long that but I've been like paying attention to color this whole time, even though I never used it. I have old art if you want. Not necessarily. That's from like when I was a baby, so I'm like, it's sweet and endearing, so maybe one day, but for right now, if I'm trying to like ultimately work up to taking commissions and stuff, I'd rather not, you know. I want to build up a pretty solid portfolio and then I can be like, oh, look at what I did when I was little, yay! But for now, I'm just trying to like highlight like I'm willing to show flaws, but not quite trips down memory lane just yet. One day though. Yeah, I posted a picture of her though. Like, I know you're talking about that painting specifically, but that was literally the last picture that I posted on my Instagram is a silly picture of her. I guess for context for the others, she's an old original character of mine. And I had a lot of fun because she used to be like, or she's like this very, very old vampire, so I calculated how old she would be, like if she was alive today versus when she was born, and it got up to like, I think she was like 600, pushing 690 basically, right? So it was very fun to like draw a picture of her with a birthday cake with the top just on fire like that Joe Biden meme. Yeah, I'll probably want that picture one day when I'm like up for taking that trip down memory lane, but not just yet. But anyway, if you want to see that, you still have that amazing sacrificial Claus. What's the religious Mrs. Claus?
Religious Mrs. Claus.
Like, I really need to know.
The
version Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, Doji, it's on my Instagram. I can, I'll break the ice on the art pad, that's fine. I'll post it in there and you can take a look. It's just a pencil sketch that I did. It was just very funny to draw. I had a great time. My oldest characters are like 15,000. Yeah, mine are... I think my very oldest character is like 2,200.
Cringe is dead.
Cringe is dead.
So nice.
It's just been very fun to like sit there and like, for that character in particular, the one that I'm thinking of, not Gwendolyn. It's been very fun to like. Well, I feel like after a certain point, the fire just, I don't know. I took a lot of liberties with vampires, and like, yeah, fire would eventually do it, but like, I feel like she's old enough that she can stand a flaming cake. That, yeah, it's fine. It just takes a fire extinguisher to put out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. She had the hijab. I don't remember, but I think I remember. I don't know. Yeah, memorable birthday. Yeah, definitely. But anyway, with my character that's like 2,000 and some change, it's really fun to like contemplate how much the brain would check out after a certain point, right? Because like, he started off as a fairly just a guy, then he gets turned and kind of goes a little bit crazy. But then after a certain point, I just feel like everything feels so disconnected, like you have no others, really, right? And I just feel like after a certain point, your brain would just kind of like check out, more or less. And so he can look up and be like, oh, wow, it's been 10 years since I looked at the clock the last time, or something like that, right? So that's always been really fun to play with, because like, and I want him to have like the solid vampiric memory and stuff, right? But I feel like he just misses so much because he just has no concept of time anymore. And he's like not really driven to like pay attention to it. Whereas I feel like if a character did like purposefully stay tethered, even if they were that old, right, they would have much more of a memory, or at least like be able to refer back to some journals and stuff that they kept up with. Because he has a complimentary buddy who's not as old as he is, but old enough, that is Miss Mays, and he tends to stay much more with the times. And fusses at my guy about not being with the times. But also after a certain point, it's like, what are you going to do? He's 2,000. Yeah, I'm really tempted, because she was like one of my first original characters then, so I'm really tempted to do something in, what is that, 2037, for like what would be her 700th birthday, specifically on the nose. I know, isn't it cute? I was kind of proud of her. She's gotten a little bit cheekier the older that I get. And she just kind of has fun with things. But the older I get, the more I'm like, you know, Fringe is dead. Edgelording can be dead with it, at least a little bit. Let your characters have a good time every now and again. Not all the time, but have a nice time as a little treat. Memory is a complicated thing to get right in fiction in my own thing. Elves can remember like 1,000 years, but that's about it. So they few social memories forget more fun. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. The warrior can call them just the things they need. A scholar would have an existential crisis. I mean, so would I, let's be real. But at that point too, like, in your world, would, like, if somebody kept a journal, if they referred back to it, could they recall? Like, oh yeah, I remember doing that, and like, it just doesn't stick, but like, you at least have that to fall back on, or is it just gone completely? Lack of sleep causes wrinkles. Yeah, I remember that. She's always been a little bit cheeky, but I know that when I made her, I was in way more of my edgy teen phase. I'm like, what if I just let her have a good time now? What if she just has fun? Most memorable things. Most vagina. Yeah. Yeah. I imagine it would be like, at least in my head, right, when I think about that kind of memory, I feel like it would be similar to a human's, but kind of like an order of magnitude, right? Like, if something really, really significant happened early on, like, so the guy that's over 2,000 remembers, like, Vesuvius erupting, right? Because that's a big deal, right? But then, like, things around it can be kind of gone, right? There's basically the Tower of Solomon. That's really cool. Yeah. My old guy was why I wanted my ancient Rome kick, I'll be honest. But it's been a lot of fun. Some crazy things. Yeah, no, they did. She did. Alrighty, gang. We're at the hour. I've been here for 3 hours. It's been real. Oof. I need to get some stuff typed up and get rolling though, so. Same time next week, unless anything changes. For those of you who were here earlier, sorry about the earlier hiccups. Oop. We have worked through them. We will work on the clarity and possibly the angle. It looks very charmingly cartoonish in here. It's a little bit crisper on my side. But yeah, I'll post weekly notes and things to pay attention to. Sin, if you want, I can type up those notes about the trines and the whatnots. I tend to write better than I speak. It would make a lot more sense, but I can do that and like pin it in the astrology chat or something. If anybody has any questions about the current state of affairs, we play enough in my mind, they just turn into concepts. Definitely. If anyone has any questions about the states of affairs, let me know. I am also happy to just chat about memory and how old characters would get affected with it. So, same bat time, same bat channel. Yes, please, if you have time, of course. I can do it. Yeah, I think today's fairly decent. I've got a chat coming up with somebody here, so it might be later, so you might see it in your morning, but I'll get to it. Alrighty. I will be back next week, but in the meantime, y'all know where to find me. Let me know if you need me. Ta-ta for now.